The easiest person to blame is the person the room already expects to be guilty. That's how it works in places where prejudice hides behind policy and professionalism. The mistake doesn't even have to be theirs. The accusation just has to sound believable to people who were already leaning that way. And on a Friday morning rush at a high-end coffee shop called Alder and Stone, the manager decided a black barista named Sky Thompson would be the scapegoat for a mess he helped create. Until one thin strip of paper, a receipt nobody thought mattered, told a different story so clearly the whole store went quiet. Sky was 24 and tired in a way that didn't show until you looked closely. She worked mornings because the tips were better, then took evening classes at a community college because she was trying to become a respiratory therapist. Her little brother, Micah, had spent too many nights in emergency rooms with asthma flare-ups, and Sky had promised herself she'd learn the science so she could help people breathe when the world felt like it was closing in. Coffee wasn't her dream, it was her ladder, and she climbed it with discipline. She arrived early, she calibrated grinders, she checked temperatures, she memorized regulars' orders, she cleaned as she worked, she kept her station so neat that even the pickiest coworker couldn't find a reason to complain. But Sky had learned that being excellent didn't mean being safe. It just meant you gave people fewer obvious excuses. Alder and Stone sat in a gentrified downtown block with boutique gyms and art galleries, and people who said ethical like it was a personality trait. The coffee shop was beautiful. White tile, wood shelves, plants hanging from the ceiling, a minimalist menu board. The cups were thick and expensive. The pastry case looked like a magazine photo, and the customers loved to feel like they were buying virtue with oat milk. The staff wore plain dark aprons and forced smiles. The manager, Darren Cole, wore authority like cologne. Always present, always slightly too strong. Darren was white, mid-30s, and obsessed with metrics. He talked about speed of service and customer satisfaction scores like they were moral values. He also loved control. He loved being the person who fixed problems, even when the problems were created by his own shortcuts. Sky had been working there for 7 months and had learned Darren's patterns the way you learn weather. He was charming to certain customers, usually white, usually wealthy, usually loud. He was strict with staff who couldn't afford to push back. And he watched Sky differently than he watched everyone else, like he was waiting for a mistake he could use. Not because she made more mistakes, because she made him nervous. Competent black women make insecure men nervous, especially when those men built their confidence on being unquestioned. That Friday, the rush started early. It was the kind of morning where the line hit the door by 7:30 and the espresso machine hissed like it was angry. Mobile orders kept printing in long ribbons, and the pickup counter became a battlefield of names, cups, and impatient hands. Sky was on bar, the most demanding station. Her coworker, Ava, a white girl with dyed blonde hair and tired eyes, was on register. Another coworker, Luis, was on cold drinks. Darren floated between stations pretending he was helping, while mostly checking his tablet and snapping about times. "We're behind," he said every few minutes, as if saying it made time move faster. Sky didn't argue. She moved. Double shots, tamp, pull, steam, pour. Her hands worked like muscle memory, but her mind stayed sharp. She watched tickets. She watched allergy notes. She watched substitutions. Almond milk, oat milk, decaf, half sweet, extra hot. Most customers didn't realize how much concentration it took to keep a rush from turning into chaos. Sky did. That's why she took pride in doing it right. At 8:12, a mobile order came through with a long list of modifications. Latte, sugar-free vanilla, oat milk, extra hot, no foam. The name printed on the sticker was Kendra. Sky read it twice because extra hot and no foam could turn into complaints fast. She made it carefully. She held back foam. She temped the milk higher. She wiped the cup clean and set it on the pickup counter in the mobile order area. "Kendra," she called, clear and calm. A woman in a beige coat stepped forward. White, late 30s, hair sleek, phone in hand. She didn't say, "Thank you." She grabbed the cup, took one sip, and her face twisted like she'd tasted betrayal. "Excuse me," she snapped immediately. "This is wrong." Sky blinked once. "What seems wrong?" she asked politely. The woman thrust the cup forward. "This is regular milk," she said, loud enough for the line to hear. "I'm lactose intolerant. I ordered oat." Sky's stomach tightened. In a shop like this, wrong milk wasn't just a mistake. It was a sin. It could be a health issue, and customers treated it like you'd tried to harm them personally. Sky kept her voice steady. "I'm sorry," she said. "Let me remake it right away." The woman's eyes narrowed. "You better," she said, "because if I get sick, I'm reporting this." Darren heard the word reporting like a dog hearing a whistle. He appeared instantly, stepping into the space like he owned it. "Hi," he said to the customer, smile bright and rehearsed. "I'm Darren, the manager. I'm so sorry about that." Then he turned to Sky, and his smile vanished. "Sky," he said sharply, "what did you do?" Sky's eyebrows lifted slightly. "I made the order as printed," she said calmly. Darren's tone sharpened. "Well, it's wrong," he snapped. The customer crossed her arms. "It's definitely wrong," she said, eyes locked on Sky like she wanted a villain. Sky didn't flinch. "I can remake it with oat milk right now," she repeated, reaching for a clean cup. Darren held up a hand. "No," he said to Sky, loud now, performative. "Stop. We need to talk about this because this is unacceptable." He turned to the customer. "Ma'am, I apologize. This should never happen. I'll make sure our barista understands the importance of reading tickets correctly." Barista. Not her name, not respect, just role. The customer looked satisfied to be validated. Sky felt her cheeks warm, not with guilt, but with humiliation. Darren was blaming her publicly to reassure the customer. He was choosing the easiest scapegoat. He leaned closer to Sky, voice low but still sharp. "What did you put in it?" he demanded. Sky kept her voice even. "Oat milk," she said. Darren scoffed loudly. "Clearly not," he replied, turning back to the customer. "Ma'am, I'll remake it personally." He said personally like it was heroic. Sky stared at him. She had seen Darren do this before. Take over when something got tense, frame the employee as the problem, position himself as savior. It wasn't leadership, it was theater. Darren grabbed the cup from the customer and sniffed it dramatically. "Yeah," he said loud. "This is dairy." Sky's eyes narrowed. "How can you tell?" she asked, still calm. Darren's eyes flashed. "Because I'm not new," he snapped. He turned to the line. "Folks, thank you for your patience. We had a mistake on bar." Then he looked at Sky again, voice harder. "Sky, step off bar." The words landed like a slap. The cafe went quiet, in the way people get quiet when they're watching someone be punished. Ava froze at the register, eyes wide. Luis slowed his movements. The line of customers leaned into their phones, but listened anyway. Sky's chest tightened. "Darren," she said quietly, "I need to understand what you're accusing me of." Darren's face twisted. "I'm accusing you of making a drink wrong," he snapped. "And I'm not risking customer safety because you're careless." Careless? Sky's jaw clenched. She wasn't careless. She was the most careful person on staff. But Darren didn't want truth. He wanted control. Sky took a slow breath. "I'm going to remake it with oat milk," she said, reaching for the oat carton. Darren slapped his hand down on the counter. "I said step off," he barked. The customer smirked slightly, enjoying the show. Sky's hands froze mid-motion. She felt the familiar trap. If she resisted, she'd be difficult. If she complied, she'd be blamed. Either way, Darren would win, unless she could prove him wrong. Sky looked at the cup in Darren's hand. Something about his certainty didn't sit right. He had sniffed it like a performance. He hadn't tested anything, and the customer had taken one sip and decided it was dairy because it tasted wrong. Sky knew something. Oat milk, extra hot, no foam, sugar-free vanilla could taste thinner, different, sometimes even slightly off if the syrup was wrong. People confuse "not what I expected" with "dangerous" all the time. And then Sky noticed something else. The sticker on the cup. It was slightly wrinkled, like it had been peeled and reattached. The name Kendra was there, but the bottom edge of the sticker had a faint tear. Sky's eyes sharpened. Darren had taken the cup from the customer's hand. He hadn't seen where she grabbed it from the counter. Neither had Sky, not exactly. In a busy rush, cups get mixed up. But Darren was certain it was Sky's fault without verifying. That meant one thing. He wanted her to be at fault. Sky's voice stayed calm. "Can I see the receipt?" she asked. Darren blinked. "What?" Sky repeated. "The mobile order receipt. It will show the milk type." Darren scoffed. "The receipt doesn't matter," he snapped. "The drink is wrong." Sky's eyes held his. "The receipt matters," she said, steady. "Because if it says oat milk, then I followed the ticket. If it says dairy, then the order was placed wrong. Either way, it's not careless, it's information." Darren's jaw tightened. He didn't like information that removed his power to perform. The customer rolled her eyes. "Are you seriously arguing?" she snapped. Sky turned slightly toward her, still polite. "I'm not arguing," she said. "I'm verifying." Darren cut in, loud. "We don't have time for this. Ava, pull the receipt if it makes her feel better." The words, "if it makes her feel better," were meant to humiliate. Ava hesitated, then tapped her screen and printed a thin receipt strip. She looked nervous handing it over, like she already knew it might expose something. Darren snatched it and glanced quickly. His face changed for half a second. A tiny flicker. Sky saw it. Because when someone is guilty, their eyes react before their mouth does. Darren cleared his throat and held the receipt up with 2 fingers. "It says oat," he admitted quickly, then pivoted immediately. "Which means you must have grabbed the wrong milk." Sky didn't move. "Or," she said calmly, "it means this isn't Kendra's drink." Darren's eyes narrowed. "It is," he snapped. The customer crossed her arms. "It is," she echoed. Sky held out her hand. "Let me see," she said, and Darren hesitated. Just a beat too long. Then he shoved the receipt toward her like it was nothing. Sky read it carefully. It was clearly a receipt for a latte with oat milk, sugar-free vanilla, extra hot, no foam. Sky looked at the cup label again. The sticker looked wrinkled, like it had been moved. She looked past Darren toward the pickup counter. In the chaos of the rush, there were still several cups sitting there, some waiting, some abandoned, some already claimed. Sky stepped closer to the counter and scanned the stickers quickly. She saw another cup near the back with a half-torn sticker that read something like K, maybe Kendra, maybe not. Then she saw a different cup with a clear sticker. Candace, latte, whole milk, extra hot. Whole milk, extra hot. That would taste like dairy because it was dairy. And it was sitting suspiciously close to where the customer had grabbed her cup. Sky's mind clicked. Someone had made Candace's drink whole milk. Kendra's drink was oat milk. In the rush, they got swapped, or someone swapped them. Darren's eyes flicked to the same cup for a second, and Sky knew he knew. "Darren," Sky said quietly, "why is Candace's whole milk latte on the mobile pickup counter?" Darren's face hardened. "Because bar is busy," he snapped. Sky kept her voice calm. "Whole milk drinks shouldn't be placed in the oat milk section," she said. We separate for allergy reasons. That's our protocol. Darren's jaw clenched. Are you accusing me? He demanded, voice rising. Sky's eyes didn't flinch. I'm asking a question, she said. Because the receipt says oat, and that cup says whole milk. The line of customers had gone silent now. Even the espresso machine seemed quieter. Ava's eyes widened. Louise stopped moving entirely. The customer looked confused, her certainty wobbling. I grabbed the cup with my name, she insisted, but her voice had lost its edge. Sky pointed gently at the sticker in Darren's hand. That sticker looks like it's been moved, she said softly. Darren snapped, That's ridiculous. But the way he said it, too fast, too defensive, made people suspicious. Sky turned to Ava. Ava, she asked calmly, can you print the item history for the last 5 mobile orders? Just the milk types. Ava hesitated, then nodded and printed another strip from the POS system. Darren lunged slightly as if to stop her, then caught himself because stopping her would look guilty. Ava handed the strip to Sky with shaking fingers. Sky read it. Kendra, oat. Candace, whole. Another order, almond. Another, oat. Another, skim. The evidence was simple. The system knew, and then the final piece clicked. The register system timestamps. The Candace whole milk order had been made at 8:11, 1 minute before Kendra's. The cups would have been next to each other on the counter. In a rush, it's easy to grab the wrong one. But Darren had blamed Sky immediately, publicly, aggressively, without checking. That wasn't an honest mistake. That was intent. Sky looked at Darren. Her voice stayed calm, but now there was steel underneath. You moved the drinks, she said quietly. Darren's face went red. What? He barked. Sky held up the receipt and the printed order strip. You moved them, she repeated, because you stepped behind bar 5 minutes ago and started helping. You grabbed cups and moved them to speed up the counter. You put a whole milk drink in the mobile pickup line. Kendra grabbed it and you blamed me. Darren's eyes flashed with fury and panic. I didn't. You did, Ava said suddenly, voice small but clear. Everyone turned. Ava's cheeks were pale. Her hands shook. You told me to stop labeling the milk marker because we were behind, she whispered. Darren's eyes widened. Ava! You said, just get cups out, nobody cares, Ava continued, voice trembling. And then you moved them yourself. The store went so quiet, you could hear the paper receipt crackle in Sky's hand. Darren's mouth opened. No sound came. The customer's face flushed as she realized she'd accused the wrong person, and enjoyed it. So, you're saying I didn't get dairy on purpose? She stammered. Sky looked at her calmly. I'm saying the wrong cup was grabbed, Sky replied. And I'm saying I'm not going to be blamed for your assumption and his shortcut. Darren snapped back to anger because shame was unbearable for him. Sky, he said sharply, watch your tone. Sky held his gaze. My tone is fine, she said. Your behavior isn't. Darren's face twisted. You're fired, he spat, loud enough for everyone to hear. The word fired hit the air like Darren thought it would restore his power. For a second, nobody moved. Then Louise, quiet Louise who rarely spoke, stepped forward and said, No. Darren blinked. Excuse me? Louise's eyes were steady. You can't fire her for your mistake, he said. Darren's voice rose. I can fire whoever I want. Ava, shaking, said, She didn't do anything. A customer in line, an older white man who had been watching silently, cleared his throat and said, We all heard you blame her without checking. That's not right. Darren's eyes darted around, realizing he was losing the room. He tried to recover with corporate language. We're not debating internal matters with customers, he snapped. Sky's voice stayed calm. Then stop making internal matters public when you're humiliating me, she replied. That line landed hard. The customer, Kendra looked down, embarrassed. She held out the cup as if it burned her. "I'm sorry," she muttered, not fully sincere, but not fully cruel anymore. Sky nodded once. "I'll remake it," she said simply, because Sky wasn't petty. She was professional. Darren stepped forward like he wanted to block her, but at that exact moment, the store's district manager walked in. Monica Reyes, Latina, 40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes, entered with the kind of timing that felt like fate. She paused, scanning the frozen scene. Darren red-faced, Sky holding receipts, customers silent, Ava pale. Monica's voice cut clean. "What's going on?" Darren's face snapped into forced innocence. "Monica," he said quickly, "we had an employee issue." Sky didn't rush. She didn't plead. She simply held out the receipt and the printed order history. "He blamed me for a milk mistake he caused," Sky said calmly. "The receipts prove it. Ava witnessed it." Monica's eyes narrowed. "Ava?" Ava nodded, voice shaking. "Yes," she whispered. Monica took the receipts and studied them for 5 seconds. Then she looked at Darren, and her expression turned cold. "You blamed her publicly," Monica said flatly. Darren tried to smile. "I was handling a customer complaint." Monica cut him off. "You were scapegoating," she said. Darren's jaw tightened. "She was being insubordinate," he snapped. Monica's eyes didn't flinch. "No," she said. "She was being accurate." Darren opened his mouth to argue. Monica raised a hand. "Go to the back office," she said. Darren blinked. "Monica?" "Now," Monica repeated, and her voice left no room. Darren walked away stiffly, face tight. Monica turned to Sky. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. Sky exhaled. "I'm fine," she said, but her hands were trembling slightly. Monica nodded once, understanding. Then she turned toward the line of customers, voice calm but firm. "We apologize for the disruption," she said. "We'll remake any incorrect drinks, and we do not tolerate disrespect toward staff." The words were simple. That's what made them powerful. Kendra swallowed and said quietly, "I'm sorry," this time more sincere. Sky nodded once. "Okay," she said. Monica pulled Sky aside slightly and lowered her voice. "Thank you for staying calm," Monica said. Sky's eyes held hers. "I've had practice," Sky replied softly. Monica's face tightened with sympathy and anger. "You shouldn't have to," she said. 30 minutes later, Darren was escorted out of the store by Monica and a corporate HR rep who arrived quickly. He didn't go quietly. He argued, blamed, complained about attitude. But the receipts didn't care. Ava's statement didn't care. The customers who witnessed it didn't care. In a place obsessed with documentation, Darren's greatest weakness was that the truth could be printed. By the end of the day, Monica posted a notice in the staff room. "New interim manager assigned. Any retaliation reports must be filed directly to district." No names, but everyone knew who it was for. Sky finished her shift with shaking hands that gradually steadied as the rush died down. Luis quietly made her a drink on the house. Oat milk, extra hot, no foam. Then slid it across the counter without saying much. Sky smiled faintly. "Thanks," she whispered. He nodded. "You didn't deserve that," he said. Sky took her drink and stepped outside for a breath. The morning sun had climbed, and the city noise felt ordinary again. But Sky didn't. Her chest still held the echo of being blamed in front of strangers. Still held the old familiar knowledge that sometimes, in America, a black woman has to prove her innocence with paper, while others get believed with tone. Still, she also felt something else. Proof can cut through prejudice. Not always, not enough, but sometimes. And sometimes the small victories matter because they teach you you're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You're not imagining it. You saw it, you named it, and the receipt agreed with you. 2 weeks later, Sky got promoted to lead bar. Monica offered it directly. "You're precise," Monica said. "You're steady under pressure. And you keep records. That's leadership." Sky almost laughed. "Keeping records saved me," she said. Monica nodded. "Exactly," she replied. Darren's name became a quiet warning story told to new hires. Don't cut corners, don't blame staff, and don't assume you can scapegoat someone and get away with it. Sky kept going to class. She kept showing up for Micah. She kept building her ladder. And every time she printed a receipt after that, she didn't see it as a slip of paper anymore. She saw it as a reminder. When people try to rewrite your story, documentation is power. Because the truth doesn't always have a microphone. Sometimes it's just a receipt, thin and plain, saying, "That wasn't her mistake."